Okay. There we are. Wonderful. Welcome and hello, everybody joining us. I am so excited to have you all here for our annual AAMHA conference. I am Dr. Anna Gregorian-Roughton. I am the president of AAMHA, and it's my pleasure to start off our conference this year with a brief review and a discussion about our organization, our mission, and our goals. AAMHA was established in 2007 by Drs. Emma Oshagan, Levon Jerzanian, Rafi Tashtian, and Charles Pilavian with the goal of being strong advocates of mental health and with the desire to advance mental health knowledge and practice in the Armenian community. In 2009, the organization earned its nonprofit status, and since we've been very involved in charitable giving, particularly to organizations in Armenia to support mental health initiatives and services. One such initiative was that during the 44-day Artsakh War, we were able to create a special team of clinicians called AAMHA volunteers and provide mental health services, mental health providers in Armenia who were providing services, there we go, and treating refugees and veterans with support and consultation. In addition to that, we hold this annual conference. We also offer monthly or bi-monthly seminars and workshops, both for mental health professionals and also for the public at large. We've had speakers from the United States and also speakers from Armenia participate in that. And we will soon be offering continuing education courses as well. As an organization, our goals are directed towards two groups, obviously mental health professionals of Armenian descent or those interested in Armenian affairs, and also the Armenian community at large. Our specific goals are to empower the Armenian community through mental health advocacy, collaborate with Armenian professionals around the world, and in order to advance scholarships and practical application of knowledge in the field of mental health. We'd like to be able to support clinicians in improving mental health services for the Armenian community, and also to provide support for professionals in the United States, Armenia, and around the world in achieving their own mission and goals. We want to finally provide and promote respect of cultural differences and the impact of culture on individual worldview. Those interested in collaborating with us are certainly welcome to reach out to us at amhawest.org and learn more about the organization, how to become a member, and how to contribute and be involved. With that, I'm excited to start our conference with our first speaker. It's so exciting to have her with us today. Our first speaker is Kristina Khrimian. Please tell me I said that correctly.
Khrimian, yes.
Khrimian, thank you. She is a goal-driven and brilliant 11th grade student at Thomas S. Wooten High School in Rockville, Maryland. Her current interests include cognitive science and business management. She is the founder and president of Armenian Behavioral Science Students, a group that's dedicated to promoting the behavioral sciences among students of all ages. Along with a few friends that have joined us today, Kristina has also co-founded a startup video editing and design company, Next Gen Edits, providing marketing services to restaurants and local organizations. Kristina is actively involved with her school, being co-president of her school's chapter of DECA, a business marketing organization, where she has won multiple regional and state awards. She's also the co-president of her school's Amnesty International chapter, as well as a member of the French and Science National Honor Societies. She is an intern for ATOP, Meaningful World, a UN-affiliated nonprofit organization dedicated to providing humanitarian aid and mental health support to underprivileged countries. In her free time, Kristina enjoys playing guitar, as well as volleyball for the DC Homenman team. Welcome, Kristina. Take it away. If you have your screen to share, go ahead and do that. And we're so excited to hear from you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Gregorian. I'm also very excited. And I'll be screen sharing now for my presentation. So hopefully that works. Can everybody see my screen? Okay, perfect. Okay, great. So yes, once again, thank you so much to all of the organizers for creating this conference. We definitely would not have been here today without all of your efforts. And that said, once again, I'm Kristina Khrimian, the founder and president of Armenian Behavioral Science Students, or ABSS, and we're going to be talking about this organization in more detail today. So I'm not here alone. I'm with a couple more members of our ABSS executive board, and I'm going to pass it on to Elia to introduce herself, and everyone else can follow from there.
Hi, I'm Elia Kappa, and I'm the vice president of ABSS.
Hello, I'm Nicole Tokotli, and I'm the director of research of ABSS.
Hi, I'm Elisa Fisician, and I'm one of the co-secretaries of ABSS.
Hi, I'm Gayana Gevorgian, and I'm one of the co-directors of website design.
Great. So this team has really been the major part of all of our projects that we have been creating, and I'll be sharing that in more detail today. But first, what exactly is ABSS and how did this all start? Well, ABSS is an organization that promotes the behavioral sciences to students of Armenian ancestry. And our mission consists of two parts. Number one, we aim to increase educational opportunities to students, particularly in the behavioral sciences. And we do this through organizing webinars and creating research projects. And number two, we aim to destigmatize mental health challenges and provide support to people with these mental health challenges. And especially because not a lot of aid and assistance is provided in Armenia. It's not talked about enough. There's not a lot of awareness. So we help out through fundraisers, which I'll also elaborate on. And ABSS was actually inspired by Dr. Takooshian, who happens to be here with us today, as he introduced ABSA's mission to me. So ABSA is the Armenian Behavioral Science Association, which is an organization with that also promotes the behavioral sciences, except it is with professors and other professionals from all over the world. So after hearing about its mission and goals, I became inspired to create the same, except to do the same for students. So the ABSA has had many accomplishments, such as conferences, bulletins, creating directories. It's a good opportunity to network with other individuals, and they have also handed out many awards. So after the earthquake in Armenia in 1988, the ABSA's directory grew from 304 to 506 members. And although it no longer publishes a directory today, it does have a growing list of over 800 members. So although ABSS is relatively new compared to the ABSA, we still have been continuing to grow since September 2022 when it was first founded. And we currently have over 75 members from 14 US states and Armenia. And we have been featured on news sites such as the Armenian Weekly and the Armenian Mirror Spectator. So one of the ways that we increase educational opportunities is through organizing webinars, which range through a variety of topics such as career development, healing trauma after war, or even neuroscience. And these speakers have been able to bring insights and knowledge to our members on a variety of topics, which have been very successful in the past, and we're continuing to do so in the next coming months. So the second part of our mission, as I mentioned earlier, was to support mental health initiatives. And one of the ways we do this is through organizing fundraisers. So we have actually partnered with a nonprofit organization called ATOP Meaningful World to raise funds for individuals in Armenia that need mental health support. And we have organized a virtual chess tournament to raise these funds, which have been very successful. And we have also had many crowdfunding. And overall, we're able to gain nearly $4,000 in support. So since the chess tournament was very successful in February, we are replicating it, and our next one is going to take place on June 10th. So it's coming up. And another project that we have worked on is our video project, which provides a glimpse of what ABSS does and what problems we're attempting to address. So hopefully this provides you with a sense of what we do. And please let me know if you have trouble hearing it.
In 2020 worldwide, we faced frustrations ranging from COVID-19 to worldwide protests, striving for recognition and justice. Yet the world stayed in silence as Artsakh, a region of Armenia, got attacked by its neighboring dictator-led nations, Azerbaijan and Turkey. As a result, families became torn apart as loved ones were lost and villages were destroyed. As their identity became on the verge of falling apart, mental health in Armenia severely decreased. The Armenian community is still healing from many tragedies, which are continuing to this day. There are other countries that have had similar experiences with war. The mental health crisis of Armenians is continuously being dismissed. Armenian Behavioral Science Students is a student-led organization that strives to destigmatize mental health challenges in the Armenian community. Our mission is to be an education-driven organization that focuses on research and allows high school and college students to gain experience in spreading awareness for mental health in the Armenian community.
Hi everyone. ABSS is a great group to be part of, especially for those that are A, interested in partaking in research, and B, meeting with professors to learn all about what they have to say.
I love ABSS because it focuses on the psychological aspect of modern and historical Armenian events, which is definitely something I think we should be paying more attention to, especially as a group of people who have been and continue to be oppressed.
I enjoy being a part of ABSS because it allows us students to connect and research and have projects about things that aren't talked about enough in the Armenian community.
Despite the generational challenges and traumas Armenians have faced, we as students are determined to do our part and unify Armenians around the world, not only to bring educational opportunities, but also to spread awareness on issues that deserve to be recognized.
So hopefully that provided you a glimpse of ABSS in a nutshell, and hopefully it was informative to you.
In 2020...
Okay, great. So now I want to transition to one of the biggest projects that ABSS has worked on for these past several months, and it is research. So that is another way that we increase educational opportunities. So many students want to do research, but either they lack the connections or the opportunities, or they simply don't know how and where to start. So that's why ABSS has created this research project for students to participate in. And although it was student-led, it was inspired by Dr. Takooshian's previous research that he has done in 1983. However, we have replicated it and slightly modified it to our current times and to address key points that align with our organization. So that said, I'm going to pass it over to Gayane, and she is going to introduce our abstract.
Okay, so how do women view feminism? This was the research question that we addressed. We had sent out the survey to women of different ages and backgrounds all across the United States. And although we gathered information from women of different ethnicities, one of our main focuses was to determine the feminist views of Armenian women in particular. We then had compared this data to the other variables when analyzing our results.
For the convenience of our surveyors, we decided we would write and distribute the survey through Google Forms. We ended up gathering 180 answers from women across the United States. The survey we created was based on the 1983 feminist survey by Dr. Takooshian and Dr. Stewart, but we did end up changing the questions a bit with the intent of matching our time period and making the questions more modern and more in context. So we also adjusted the score calculations in order to add variety in terms of extremist views. We did keep the survey similar enough to the original to be able to draw connections between the two. And in the original survey, they found a correlation between non-ethnic women and having more feminist values. Therefore, feminist attitudes and ethnicity were called opposing forces. And in the end, our survey showed similar results.
Yes, now we'll be talking about the surveys that we used to collect our data. We started with surveying women with varying ages, religions, and cultural backgrounds. We asked each of them 20 questions. Each question had a scale with 5 different options ranging from strongly agree to strongly disagree. For each question and corresponding response that we received, one number was assigned, and this represented how feminist the answer was. For a majority of the questions, strongly disagree represented 0 and strongly agree was represented with 4. For some questions, such as authoritative questions, the values for a given response were flipped to keep consistent with the system. This means that strongly agree was now 0 and strongly disagree was 4. For each responder, a feminism score was communicated by adding all the individual numbers they scored for each question. This means that the minimum score was 0 and the maximum possible score was 60.
As Elia just mentioned, 5 of the questions that were included in the survey were measuring how authoritative an individual was, rather than how feminist their views were. And because of this, only 15 of the questions were measuring feminist views, meaning the maximum score one could receive was 60 rather than 80. And then with the scores we received, we were able to analyze the correlations between feminist views and varying religion, ethnicity, and ages. So here are the 2 surveys we circulated out to all of our participants. We had one in English as well as one in Armenian. And then in addition to these 20 questions, we also had questions asking our participants about their age, religion, and how ethnic they felt. And then one example for an authoritative question is number 20, which states, in general, women should stay out of topics or fields that are male-dominated, such as politics. So this was a question that was measuring how authoritative one was rather than how feminist their views were.
Now we will be talking about the data that we gathered. So on the left-hand side, we can see that the FEM score value was 38.35 on average. This means that a majority of the women were more on the feminist side than not. I'd like to also say that in general, we used SPSS to calculate the data and correlations throughout our surveys. On the right-hand side, we can see correlations between FemScore values and other factors. For one, we can see a negative correlation between age and the feminism score. This means that as age increases, the feminism score decreases. We can also see that as authoritative values increase, the feminism score values decrease. These make sense because one, age increases because younger generations, when younger generations see feminist protests that go on, they realize feminism movements. Also, authoritative values increase, feminism values decrease. Lastly, we see as ethnic values increase, feminism values decrease. This is also true for Armenians that we surveyed. I'd also like to say that all of the values that have negative correlations also have 1 or 2 stars next to them, which means that they are statistically significant.
Thank you so much, Guyana, Elia, Nicole, and Elisa for summarizing our research projects. So in the future, ABSS hopes to go through more projects, just research, and also directly participate with volunteering organizations in the mental health area. So with that brings our presentation to an end. And as a growing organization, we are constantly welcoming new members. So if anyone is interested in joining, they can fill out the free Google form in our Instagram bio or through our website, and contact us at armenian.bss@gmail.com. So once again, we're very honored and grateful to be here today. We look forward to hearing our other speakers present during tonight's conference, and we may be more than happy to answer any questions you may have. So thank you.
Thank you so much. It's so inspiring to see young minds at such an early age really taking a deep dive into this field and into research and really wanting to engage with the Armenian community. I'm very, very inspired and hopeful by what you have to offer the world and our community. Thank you all.
Thank you for your kind words. We really appreciate it.
So let me check if we don't have any questions as of yet. But we do have some positive responses. So, you know, thumbs up in Facebook world, right?
Yeah.
So you're getting the likes, if not the questions. Is there anything else that you would like to share about the work you've done or the direction you see your organization going with, what you would hopefully like to accomplish?
Yeah, so next Saturday, we are going to be having our second chess tournament, since the first one in February was a huge success. And we're hoping to spread the word out to like throughout the country and possibly internationally as well, since last time a young boy from Russia, originally from Stepanakert, he won the tournament, and he was challenging adults and many people. So it was very inspiring to see such a young, brilliant mind win. And we hope to have the same turnout this next tournament. In addition, we're going to be having our next guest speaker is going to be Karine Arshakyan on June 12th, and she'll be talking about neurographica, which is a sort of art therapy. And those are our plans for upcoming June. And in August, we, Ellie and I are going to be in Armenia the first week of August. So we are actually going to be presenting at the Armenian Youth Forum. So we're very excited for that. And it's going to be with a lot of individuals from all over the world, where they're expecting over 400 participants. So that'll be a great opportunity for us as well.
Oh, wonderful to hear that. I heard about the forum and was wondering if you were going to be a part of it.
Yeah, I saw it online and I was like, oh, wow, that's when I'm going to be in Armenia. So why not?
Well,
and
perfect.
yeah.
Perfect. How lucky. And we're so grateful to you all for joining us. I know there's a bit of a time difference and it's a Fridays, but so we're so grateful that you would make the time and join us and present your work.
Thank you.
We'll switch gears if that's okay with you all, and hand it over to Dr. Takooshian for his presentation. He has been on the faculty of Fordham University since 1975. He is a professor of psychology, urban studies, and organizational leadership. He completed his PhD in psychology at CUNY with Stanley Milgram. So that is a big, big name in our field, right? He is a researcher, a teacher, and a consultant whose work is described in Marquis' Who's Who in the World. As a co-founder and past president of the APA Division of International Psychology, he has served with the UN and chaired its NGO Habitat Community on Human Settlements from 2008 to 2010. He has taught at 12 universities in 6 nations, including 2 senior Fulbrights to the USSR in 1987, specifically Russia, Armenia, and Georgia. And then again, in Russia in 2013, where he worked in Moscow, Petersburg, Tomsk, Novosibirsk, Petrozavodsk. He is the executive officer of the Armenian Behavioral Sciences Association, ABSA, and has written about the Armenian community in the USA. Welcome, Dr. Takooshian. We're very excited to hear from you today.
You speak Armenian? Do you speak Russian, Anna?
A little bit.
Oh, it comes across.
Thank you.
Oh, okay. You're allowing me to co-host here.
Yes, so you can share.
Let me compliment your AAMHA for organizing this and for letting us be part of this. It's just fascinating to hear Kristina's team talk about the remarkable things they're doing. It blows me away. That would be an A+ at Fordham. Maybe Kristina's team should consider the October conference in Yerevan. It's just remarkable what you're doing.
Thank you so much.
I'll present pretty briefly like Kristina did, and you'll give me the 5 minutes if need be. I want to give a shout out to Tara Peer in Los Angeles and her colleague Natalie Peterson, who I believe are in the audience today. The screen behind me is the United Nations General Assembly, and I work somewhat with the UN because of Tara Peer. She's a very active therapist in California, and if you come across her or seek her out, she's just a remarkable force of nature in psychology. Let me focus my remarks on the place of the diaspora Armenians in the behavioral sciences. And I give, again, AAMHA credit for this. And at the end of the presentation, I'm going to offer an invitation to your listeners. As we know, the Armenian diaspora is nothing new. We think of it as 1915, but the fact is the Armenian diaspora is ancient. Today, there are about 9 million ethnic Armenians around the world, and about 2/3 of them live outside Armenia. When I say the Armenian diaspora is ancient, it even predates Saint Mesro Mashtots in the 4th century AD. Armenian demography is still rather underdeveloped, but it is clear from the writings, including my own, that Armenians have prospered wherever they go in the world. 193 nations, every one of them has Armenians in it, and in every one of them, Armenians are thriving, even when they're oppressed. There's a certain seared or spirit among Armenians, which goes around the world. It's to the credit of AAMHA that 2 years ago in 2021, it hosted a group of eight Armenian diaspora groups, which I put on the screen there. And this never happens. These Armenian organizations don't always speak with one another. But AAMHA brought us together to talk about what the diaspora could do for Armenia. And the fact is the situation is much more troubled today than it was at that time. What I'd like to do is focus on specifically on the behavioral sciences. As Kristina and Anna said, there is such a thing as the Armenian Behavioral Science Association, started in 1987. And in 5 points, I will cover the origins of that association, activities since 1987, which Kristina also covered, to her credit. The third thing is high leaders in the behavioral sciences, quite an impressive group. The fourth thing is high leaders specifically in psychology, which is one of the larger behavioral sciences. And the fifth is about what's been happening since 2019, a global census of Armenian behavioral scientists. And maybe ABSS could cooperate with ABSA on this project. First of all, the origins of the Armenian Behavioral Science Association. We got tired of reading our names in the textbooks. We often saw Armenian names back in the 1980s, but we didn't know each other as individuals. So on August 31st, 1987 in New York, 6 of us representing different behavioral sciences got together, and we formed we launched the Armenian Behavioral Science Association. We had a wonderful 2-hour panel at the International Congress of Psychology in New York. You see Hagaz Grigorian, a psychiatrist, speaking there. There were about 50 of us. And then that evening, we had a reception on the 12th floor of Fordham University, the faculty lounge. About 50 people, just magnificent. Shake Kaftarian played the piano. Hagaz Grigorian was the tomadan. And I have a videotape of that, which ages well, to see those wonderful people all together for the first time. Let me say that this gathering, August 31st, 1987, the next week I went to the Soviet Union on Fulbright, and I was able to visit Armenia and do a census of Armenian psychologists on video in 1987. And I visited all 5 groups in Yerevan. But something unusual happened. I think your audience is too young to remember December 7th, 1988, when President Ronald Reagan was meeting Mikhail Gorbachev in New York City for lunch. What a power lunch that was. But it never happened because Gorbachev had to rush back because of the earthquake in Armenia. That was the day of the massive earthquake that caused the president of the Soviet Union to return to one of his republics. And 25 years later, we wrote an article about how the impact of that earthquake actually benefited Armenia in some ways, how the psychologists from around the world entered Armenia and started a revolutionary movement in that republic that wouldn't have existed otherwise. Since 1987, the second point, since 1987, ABSA has worked on many things. When I hear Kristina talk, I'm just so impressed by what she's done in 2 years. But in the past 30 years, ABSA has done a lot too. After the earthquake, we published directories, bulletins, research, conferences, awards. We published directories of Armenian behavioral scientists in the United States. And then, thanks to some modest funding, we published directories of Armenian psychologists in Armenia, which didn't happen by itself. The Americans had to help out, but we published those directories. And we also published the ABSA bulletin, what the different scientists are doing with each other. We also sponsored over 30 gatherings of different conferences, and we continue to do that. This is a picture of Chicago at APA in 2019, where we gave an award to Shake Kazarian, an expert on the genocide. This is Moscow, the Higher School of Economics, in 2013, when a group of us used Armenian cognac to salute Enik Ekapolov, a leading Russian Armenian psychologist. And then this is Washington, D.C., where we saluted Alan Salarian, the chief psychiatrist for the FBI, and Mark Krikorian back in 2005. Let me move, I'm going pretty quickly, but I think that's a good idea, right? Let me move on to Armenians in the behavioral sciences in general. It's fair to say that the diaspora Armenians have truly made more than their contribution to world behavioral science. In economics, you see there Armen Alcian, who's a legend at UCLA, his 2-volume textbook on economics. And on the right, you see Daron Acemoglu, who is today one of the leading economist at MIT. It's only a matter of time before he gets the Nobel Prize. And then when it comes to political science, you may recognize Barton Gregorian, that larger-than-life figure, and Ian Bremmer, whose mother was Armenian and who speaks Shat Makur Haiden. And then in sociology, in psychiatry, in fact, let me stop there for a moment. In psychiatry, not only have Hagop Akaskal on the left, who is a world leader, but Menas Gregory, a very forgotten figure. But if you're familiar with Bellevue Hospital in New York, Menas Gregory was the man who made Bellevue Hospital the center of psychiatry in the world. Social statistics, public health, Myron Alukian and Hagop Armenian. When it comes to psychology, you may know that there are 54 divisions of APA, 54 specialties. And almost every specialty has an Armenian leader. You see the Division 1 there, general psychology, that's Levo Malikian, who actually won an award from APSA, the very first award that we gave in 1987. But Levo Malikian was a dean at AUB Medical School, Medical School in Beirut. And he was a leader for at least 30 years in general psychology. When it comes to Division 2, the legendary Seth Arsenian, you may not have heard of him, but he was a remarkable figure at Springfield College. In Division 8, personality psychology, Albert Mehrabian is a legendary psychometrician and at UCLA. Division 14, you have several industrial psychologists, including Archie Punyan here. I'm sorry he didn't get a better picture of himself, but that was the best one I could find. But he was the personnel director for the city of Chicago for many years, very gracious man, very talented industrial psychologist. Then Division 18, Public Service, Bill Safarjan. Division 20, Aging. I'm blocking your name, I'm sorry to say, but she's an expert on dementia, so it might be relevant. Jane Mahakian, who has a very active program in Yerevan right now. Thank you, Anna. Division 36, Psychology and Religion, Ray Palutzian wrote the book, the Encyclopedia of Psychology and Religion. Division 39, Hirad Bekbikian, was a leader in psychoanalysis and psychiatry. Division 43, Harold Galician. Anybody you talk about in family psychology, they say Harold started everything. Division 46, you see there, again, I'm blocking her name. Can you help me with that one? I don't think so. Mary Alvord is very helpful with Armenia Today. Division 47, I should have written these names down, but John Badikian is more or less a founder of biofeedback, John Basmajian in Canada. And then in Division 49, group therapy, Ivan Agazarian is just widely known among all the group therapists for her pioneering work. Division 53, child psychology, Suzanne Simonian at Charleston. Division 56, trauma, Annie Kalajian. Let me shift gears there to the final point. APSA visited Armenia in 2019 for Yerevan State University's 100th anniversary conference, and a lot happened there. It was a marvelous conference. So many people from around the world, including Diaspora Armenians, and we introduced them to Psy-Chi, the Honor Society in Psychology, and within no time, they formed the Armenians in Yerevan, very Jarbik, they formed the first Psy-Chi chapter in the entire Caucasus region. And that chapter is still thriving today. And Hrant Avanesian on the left there, excuse me, on the right, is a very talented, organized fellow. And he wants us to come back on October 13th to 15th, 2023 for the next conference. And that's a deadline for this is June 30th. And I'd like to invite all of you, students as well as professionals, to consider joining us that day, that weekend, because it's going to be another historic conference. And one of the things we're working on right now, let me close this. is a census of Armenian behavioral scientists around the world, because what we did in the US is true in other nations as well. And oddly enough, Armenians are talented, but they don't often identify with each other. We have to seek them out. So my two invitations to you, one is to consider joining us in October of 23 in Yerevan, those 3 days. And the second thing is to consider participating with us in the census of our Armenian psychologists and behavioral scientists around the world. I think AAMHA does a great job bringing people together, and I appreciate speaking with you folks today. Thank you.
Thank you so much for sharing about our heritage in the field of mental health. I think you're absolutely right. We often forget that there are so many leaders of Armenian descent in all walks of the fields of psychology. So it's lovely to have that reminder. And it's so important that we continue to carry that torch. And I see that really happening with Kristina and your organization as well. So carry that torch, carry that Yeraguin proudly in our field. Thank you so much also for the invitation to participate in Armenia. Hopefully a number of students and professionals will take you up on that. I'm excited to see what comes out of this year's conference. I have some comments here. One comment says, keep up the good work. This is such an important initiative, Dr. Takooshian. We definitely need a directory to unite the professionals out there. I second that, absolutely. And then I have a question. Could you please ask the presenters to share their thoughts regarding ways that we can increase interest in psychology and mental health in the Armenian community? So I suppose that goes to all of our presenters. So I don't know if you want to do rock, paper, scissors for who goes first, or
Kristina?
Sure. So as we already briefly talked about, one of the ways that we increase this knowledge about mental health is through the webinars that we host. And this is a great opportunity as we collect a lot of Armenian individuals from all over the diaspora to talk about different topics. And as an example, we have had Dr. Ani Kalajan come speak to us in October about how to heal trauma after war. And that has been very inspirational and informative about ways we can increase mental health awareness and through the various missions that they conduct in Armenia. Another key speaker that we had was RPS Saturian, who is the CEO of Frontline Therapists, and it is also an organization that helps volunteer and provide mental health support on the front line directly in Armenia and Artsakh. So I think that to address the question, one of the main ways that we can continue to spread awareness about mental health through more people joining these webinars and becoming educated on these topics going on both here in the US and in the motherland in Armenia. So, yeah.
Yes, Anna, can I add? Can George or you offer a column in the Armenian Mirror Spectator on mental health, or perhaps the Armenian Weekly? Because very often the Armenian media do not publish what we send them. But having a column on mental health, that seems like a natural role for your AAMHA. And that way you could highlight it on a weekly basis. Anyway, I think that would go a long way, because I think the person who raised that question is correct, that we overlook the expertise that is right among our group, but we could highlight it. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that suggestion. I think that's excellent. Thank you. We will definitely bring that to the organization.
One of the editors, by the way, of the Armenian media is a behavioral scientist himself, Harut Sasunyan, in California. And I think he might be open to this possibility. He's a great patriot and a behavioral scientist. He might resonate with this.
Wonderful. Well, thank you for that. That's really a great suggestion. I will certainly bring that to the team. And, if there are viewers and listeners out there who might be interested in contributing, please reach out to us. I have a comment from Tara Pierre. I am very proud of you, Dr. Harold, for your worldwide influential position in psychology and humanity. I'm also very impressed with the young leaders in our profession and their commitment to ethnicity and preserving cultural values. My congratulations to the organization for its leadership. So thank you all so very much for your contributions to the field, for your participation on the panel. We look forward to hearing what you all do next, and hopefully we will continue to be connected and grow together in this field. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Absolutely. Thank you. For our listeners, please stay tuned. We will take a brief little break and be back with our next panel at 5:30, which is on the topic of children and youth. Thank you all again for taking the time. It was wonderful having you as our presenters.